that attempt to discover the physiological processes behind dreaming. 30 or 40 years ago, Alfred Maury, and about the same time, M.D. Hervey of St. Denis had observed that at the moment of falling asleep, these colored spots and moving forms consolidate, fix themselves, take on definite outlines, the outlines of the objects and of the persons which people are dreams. Right? What?
Now you can read it
Uh,
easily.
Okay, but this is an observation to be accepted with caution since it emanates from psychologists already half asleep. More recently, an American psychologist, Professor Ladd of Yale, has devised a more rigorous method but of difficult application because it requires this sort of training. It consists in acquiring the habit on awakening in the morning of keeping the eyes closed and retaining for some minutes the dream that is fading from the field of vision and soon would doubtless have faded from that of memory and one sees the figures and objects of the dream melt away little by little into phosphorus and identifying themselves with the colored spots that the eye really perceives when the lids are closed. One reads, for example, a newspaper that is the dream. One awakens and there remains of the newspaper whose definite outlines are is only a white spot with black marks here and there. That is the reality, or our dream takes upon us upon the open sea round about us the ocean spreads its waves of yellowish gray with hair, and there a crown of white foam. On awakening, it is all lost in a great spot, half yellow and half gray, sewn with brilliant points. The spot was there, the brilliant spots were there. There was really presented to our perceptions in sleep a visual dust, and it was this dust which served for the fabrication of our dreams. Will this alone suffice? Still, considering the sensation of sight, we ought to add to these visual
Yes, visual sensations, which we
sensations,
call,
which we may call internal, or those which continue to come to us from an external source. The eyes, when closed, still distinguish light from shade, and even to a certain extent, different lights from one another. These sensations of light emanating from without are at the bottom of many of our dreams. A candle abruptly lighted in the room will, for example, suggest to the sleeper, if his slumber is not too deep, a dream dominated by the image of fire, the idea of a burning building. Permit me to cite to you two observations of M. Tissey on this subject. B. Leon dreams that the theater of Alexandria is on fire. The flame lights up the whole place. All of a sudden, he finds himself transported to the midst of the fountain in the public square. A line of fire runs along the chains which connect the great post placed around the margin. Then he finds himself in Paris at the exposition, which is on fire. He takes part in terrible scenes, etc. He wakes with a start. His eyes catch the rays of light projected by the dark lantern, which the night nurse flashes to its bed in passing. Ambert Rand dreams that he is in the Marine Infantry where he formerly served. He goes port to France, to Toulon, to Laurier, to Crimea, to Constantinople. He sees lightning, he hears thunder, he takes part in a combat in which he sees fire leap from the mouths of cannon. He wakes with a start like B. He was weakened by a flash of light projected from the dark lantern, a flash of light. Oh, no, wait. From the dark lantern of the night nurse. Such are often the dreams provoked by a bright and sudden light. Very different are those which are suggested by a mild and continuous light like that of the moon. A. Cross tells how one day on awakening he perceived that he was extending his arm toward what in his dream appeared to him to be the image of a young girl. Little by little, this image melted into that of the full moon, which darted its rays upon him. It is a curious thing that
little by little, his images melted into that of
one.
the full moon,
It is a curious thing.
which
It is
darted
a
its
curious
rays
thing
upon
that
him.
one.
It's a curious thing that one
It is
might,
a
it is a curious thing that
one
one
might cite other examples
examples of dreams.
of dreams where the rays of the moon caressing the eyes of the sleeper evoked before him virginal apparitions. May we not suppose that such might have been the origin in antiquity of the fable of Endymion, the Endymion? The shepherd lapped in perpetual slumber from whom the goddess Selene, that is the moon, is smitten with love while he sleeps.
Okay. So this is a passage, all kind of social perspective. It's talking about psychological aspect or little bit scientific. It's talking about spirituality and psychology. So this is a different passage. It does not belong to history. It does not belong to social issues. It's not a historical foundation. It's not literature as well. So hopefully, this sort of passages usually bring lots of problem for the students because they're not used to read this sort of psychological, pithy and long sort of phrases. So, Imran, how many things you have heard and understood from this passage? Can you explain the main idea given over here? Gibran, can you explain what is the main idea
Well,
talking about over here?
uh, it was like they were doing experiments to find find the reasoning like behind dreaming and stuff. Not really
You see
sure.
that again, I told you that whenever you're going to read a passage, do read this introductory lines in which he clearly explained that this passage is adapted from Henry Bergson's Dreams. This is the name of the book or the article or whatever it is. It may be anything else. Originally published in 1914, Bergson's is describing studies that attempt to discover the psychological process behind dreaming. That is the main idea of this whole paragraph. But this is not the only thing that we can understand that we are talking about the dreams. Now, what is dream all about? How do we perceive and what all the other things? That is the thing we need to understand it. Okay, so anybody in this meeting would like to express his ideas? Anyone? Anika is there. If Anika would like to share her feeling about this passage, Abdullah is also there. Alish San is also there. Anyone? I think Anika has left the meeting. G, anyone? Umar, if you can turn on your mic and explain what is this. No one? Okay, it's difficult one. Okay then, nice. So, so this is one of the passages appeared in SAT paper, and you can understand this, the level of difficulty. And if we come to this questions, here is the first question. Based on the passage, it can be inferred that the author views dreams as Hebron, Abdullah, and all of you are going to appear in SAT paper. You need to focus on this question very, very keenly, very carefully. You know, it is not, we are not supposed to answer from just one paragraph or the two paragraph or the particular any specific lines, but we need to give the overall, it's a big picture question. Hebron knows that we have already discussed it. There are two types of questions overall appear in SAT paper. One is big picture question, and another is specific question. So this is the big picture question. We can't answer this question unless we read the whole passage. So based on this passage, it can be inferred that the author views dreams as so highly metaphorical and dependent on poetical language, dependent on dreamers, cultural and historical environment, experience unique to every individual phenomena that can be attributed to rational cause. So I would like you to answer this through text message. Um, don't turn on your mic. Just send me your answers through text message. Just I'm waiting for you. And if you want that I could read this passage for you at the same time so that you could understand this. So the 30 or 40 years ago, Mr. Alfred Murray, and about the same time, M.D. Harvey of Saint Denis had observed that at the moment of falling asleep, these colored spots in moving form consolidate, fix themselves, take on definite outlines. The outlines of the object and of the person which people are dreams. But this is an observation to be accepted with caution. But this is an observation to be accepted with caution, since it emanates from psychologists already half asleep. And you see then the next of the whole passage tells something clearly about the passage talk about. So somebody answered B, but where are other people? Just come up with your answer, boys. Hurry up. Come up with your answers, please. Question number 22. And it says that based on the passage, it can be inferred that the author views dreams as. Okay, Bron, you can turn on your mic and answer it. J. Bron,
Um, I'm not sure, but is it D?
on which uh, basis you selected this?
So, like it said in the passage, like dreams are like
I think so. See,
On what? But please explain it to me again. I couldn't.
uh, so like dreams, like it said in the passage that like they were based on like different causes and stuff. Like it could be like different causes for I don't not really sure, but it said something like
But
it's like different.
whatever he talks about, he says that people dreams because of some social reason. There are reasons. There are always reasons behind it. That is why they dream it. Oh, from where you can pick that evidence? Like, how can you say this? Well, I've shown you the passage, and you can find out where it is written that all that we dream, it is because of some cause behind it. Where you can find it? Can you find out any evidence? No. You see that he talks about B. Leon, he talks about M. Bertrand, he talks about some other person, he also talks about Endymions. They dream according to their own reasons and rational causes. That is why the delta option is correct. Your, answer is correct. Delta should be the answer of it. Highly metaphorical and dependent on poetical language cannot be the answer. We have there is there isn't anything like poetical things are being mentioned, and dependent on the dreamer's cultural and historical environment. It depend on dreamer's cultural and historical environment. No, it's not that like. So experiencing unique to every individual. It can be the answer. It can be the answer, but the delta is very much the answer. Okay, come to the question number 23. As used in line 7, people most nearly means. So, crowd, populate, individualize, or humanize. I'm going to the line number 7, and I'm going to explain this line number 7 like this. 30 or 40 years ago, there's a comma, and whenever there's a comma, it means we are having extra information. So Mr. M. Alfred Maury and about the same time, this is the phrase. It is separated from the another phrase. M.D. Henry, again there is a phrase. Of Saint Denis, again there is separated by comma. Had observed that. Look at this is the main sentence. 34 is M. Alfred Maury uh, and Saint of Denis had observed that. What did they observe? At the moment of falling asleep, when you go to sleep, these colored spots and moving forms consolidates. consolidates. Which thing they consolidates? Just remove this portion. Fix themselves, take on definite these are the extra information, just remove them and connect this consolidate with the outlines. Consolidates the outlines of the object and the persons. Which people are dreams? So which people are dream? So which people are dream? Look at this. There is this very strange thing. Very, very strange. This word people. It looks like a noun, but actually, it's not a noun here. It's not a noun here. Uh, then what this people is? G, please. This people is not a noun here. Can you tell me why this people is not? It should not be a noun over here. It should be which part of speech? Who will tell me this? Anybody who could turn on their mic or his or her mic, or even can text me. Yes, text has arrived. Individualize, I think. Individualize, I think. Just you are giving me the answer, but not telling me the question that I'm asking. This particular, when the word I'm using over here, the word is being used, which people? This people is not a noun over here. Why? Why this people cannot be used as a noun over here? Ron, why you were silent? Hey, Brown, what do you think?
Um, yeah, I'm not sure.
Look at this. Look at this. Focus, focus. The word, this is which, and which is called relative pronoun. Okay. And this is person and this is people. You can say both are apparently look like a noun. But whenever which is going to join, there should be a noun before with this which. And after the which, the another word comes, it should be a verb. So this people is a verb over here. So if the verb is over here, then it could be crowd cannot be, populate cannot be, humanize and individualize both are the verb. These both are the verb over here. And this populate is also a verb. Populate, populated, this is also a verb. Crowd cannot be used as a verb. So populate, individually, individualize, humanize. So which would change, replace this word would replace these option with this word people, like you can say that persons which populate our dreams, which individualizes our dreams, humanizes our dream. Which thing you should say? Which populate our dream should be the answer. Beta should be the answer. So people as a verb is closest in the meaning because to populate means to fill or to be present in an area, which is an accurate way to describe the objects and people present in one's dreams. Okay, it seems difficult because you people are not very much participating in it. Come to the question 24. The author's stance on Mary's, Moraes, and D. Harvey's work outlined in paragraph 1 is best described as. Who will answer this question? The author's stance on Murray's and D. Harvey's work outlined in paragraph 1 is best described as plainly critical, generally positive, deeply intrigued, or highly skeptical. Uh, you need to understand the meaning. Plainly criticals means it's you are going to criticize on it. You don't consider well, and then you are going to criticize it. Positive means you are very much positive about that thing. And intrigue means that is, that gives you lots of interest in it. It arouses your interest and you would like to read about it more and more. And highly skeptical means you are not sure about it, and the author is not sure about it, whether all these things are right or wrong. So which should be the answer? Should I go for the first paragraph? Here is the first paragraph from 32 here. Here till now we have read this, the outline of the objects and the persons which people are dreams. But, look at this, but. This is an observation to be accepted with caution. Look at the word with caution. You can see this with caution. When you accept something with caution, you are not sure about it. You are skeptical about it, since it emanates from psychologists already half asleep. Because when they understand, they are already half sleeping in it, so they're not sure about it. So which option should be correct? Yes, D option should be correct. The D option should be correct. So this one is a highly skeptical. Okay, Hebron, come to the question number 25. You read it yourself. Hebron, please keep your mic on. So be very much into the discussion. J. Hebron, please.
Um,
J. Read
According
yourself.
to paragraph 2, Professor Ladd's main contention about dreams is that. Wait, can you go to the paragraph?
Sorry, which paragraph we are talking about? Paragraph number
2.
2. And more recently to, it is from where it should be. More recently to which?
It's line 10 to 35.
Okay. So you can read this. What is it?
Wait, should I read it or just
No,
look
no,
for the answer?
let me read this question again. According to the paragraph 2, line
Okay.
1035, Professor Ladd's main contention about dreams is that. Contention means, what do you mean by contention? Contention, issue, bone of contention is an idiom, problem, debate, point. Dreams develop from the colors that we discern during sleep. Dreams consist of muted hues with shining spots. Training can help people remember dreams on awakening. We visualize, materialize in dreams that are common in our lives. So here it is, the paragraph number 2. Uh, Himran, please read this out again. More recently, an American psychologist, Professor Latz, Yale.
More recently, an American psychologist, Professor Ladd of Yale, has devised a more rigorous method, but of difficult application because it requires a sort of training.
Just wait, just wait. What is a rigorous method?
Like tough,
Tough, yes,
hard
good,
to do.
good, good, good. Okay. But of difficult application, has devised a more rigorous method but of difficult application. Do you think that this, the use of this but, uh, giving the separate meaning of rigorous method? Because if this rigorous means tough, then it should not be a countercepted, or contracted, or uh, it should not be contrasted with difficult application. So it can be mean in another way. It can be a detailed method. It can be, any other meanings, but it should not be used in terms of difficult, or you can say difficult, or whatever you have said, that should not be in the real meaning. But difficult applications, because it requires a sort of training. Okay, then read it to the next. It consists in.
It consists in acquiring the habit on awakening in the morning of keeping the eyes closed and retaining for some minutes the dream that is fading from the field of vision, and soon would doubtless have faded from that of memory.
Then,
Then one sees the figures and objects of the dream melt away, little by little, into phosphorus,
just
identifying
wait, just
themselves.
wait, just wait. Phospho, phosophenes, phosophenes. So phosophenes, have you heard this word before? Phosophenes.
Oh no.
And can you guess the meaning just by this context? If there had been a meaning, explain what is phosophenes. Can you guess the meaning? Just read this line. Read the sentence. Then one sees the figures and the objects of the dream melt away little by little into phosphenes, comma. It is going to give the meaning of identifying themselves with the colored spots that the eyes really perceives when the lids are closed. Can you guess the meaning of this phosophenes? He has given the meaning over here. Remember, Hebron, wherever there is a comma, semicolon, or there is a colon, that pretty word is going to be described by the next wording. So phosphenes means identifying themselves with the colored spots that the eye really perceives. When we close our eyes and there a light emerges that slowly and gradually goes away, that light and then the process of fading of that light is called phosphenes. And you can see that identifying themselves with the colored spot that the eyes really perceives when the lids are closed. And then that uh, light goes away with the passage of time. Then, okay, continue this. One reads,
One reads, for example, a newspaper that is the dream. One awakens, and there remains of the newspaper whose definite outlines are erased to only a white spot with black marks here and there. That is the reality. Or our dream takes us upon the open sea. Round about us, the ocean spreads its waves of yellowish gray with here and there a crown of white foam. On awakening, it is all lost in great spot, half yellow and half